Let's talk for a few minutes about your bot's character, its personality. We've talked about, or have mentioned at least, that your character should be obviously one that your readers connect with most. If you're writing a romance and you have a hero and a heroine, we do tend to have a lot of hero bots, but it's completely up to you. Who do you think your readers would be most excited to meet ahead of the book? Sometimes it's a very obvious choice if you have a main character in a book or running through a series, but other times, I actually did consider having a heroine for the next book. This particular one you're looking at is a Conrad bot, but he just led into the next book, which will come out in February. But I did eventually decide to go with Rory for this one and stick with the hero. But that's the first question that you'll have to answer is which character am I using? And then let that character shine through. I think that this is a great opportunity to showcase what you can do, to showcase your writing, showcase your style, let readers decide if they want to stick with you or not. And it really is easy, especially if you're composing the bot sequences while you're writing the book. I find this just an extension of the day's writing. It can get a little bit trickier when you're going back, and I have done this, a book or two, and then you have to re-put yourself into that character's head. But it's not that difficult, and this is where, as writers, I think it's a great fit. So I wanted to show you just one or two of these, and also mention some things that might kind of come up for you that have for us. For instance, Conrad is from the 13th century, and so he doesn't know about technology. Words like download and Amazon make no sense to Conrad, and if we're staying in character for him, he needs to either not mention those things, which gets difficult, or kind of relay it back to me, the writer, and kind of break character, and he does that sometimes. He'll say, I don't know what KU means, but Cecilia asked me to remind you that it's in this thing called Kindle Unlimited, or something to that effect. But you can also kind of use that as well. One time I had a technical glitch and it was easy to say, hey, Cecilia here. Sorry, Conrad's not great with technology. He's, from the 13th century and he gets tripped up sometimes. So you can also blame your characters, and that can work out nice as well. So just a few samples, and you can see how the tone and the voice comes through here. This is my Conrad bot. And this next one is Amelia Wilde. She's a contemporary romance author, a completely different tone. Even though we're using kind of some of the same strategies, it's a very different bot. So definitely let that shine through, not just in the flow or the text itself, but even on the buttons, whether you're using punctuation or not, whether you're using emojis or not. And I do suggest you use emojis for at least some of your flows. Buttons are a great place to put them. We've tested this and they get better clicks. It just is the way it is. You noticed, you will notice on this next one, we also use images, and I'll talk about that when we get into flows. But I would say a general rule, at least one image per flow, and that's a conversation again. And you can see this is Kimber Swain. She's an urban fantasy author. A very different tone with this bot. Hey, Cecilia, how you been? Nick here. Nick's got a swagger. You can see that. You can hear that. And readers were really excited to meet Nick by the time her book came out. And so, this is a great, amazing commissioned piece of art. You don't necessarily have to have that. So I use some of the same resources that I would in promoting a book, whether it's deposit photo or Unsplash for free photos, or, your own book cover, obviously, those kinds of things. And then the last sample we have here is J.H. Croy. She's a romance author. Boone, by the time I finished working with these flows, I wanted to know about Boone. I already liked him and was invested in him, and that's kind of the point here. So and you can see she kind of grabbed that image that might be one that you would put in a Facebook group or on a Facebook page. And Boone has his own voice. So just a little samples of what some of the character bots look like. So just get the juices flowing. First decision you'll make, which character are you using? And then let his or her voice shine through and stay in character whenever possible. That will minimize people messaging you outside of the bot. So if it's always Conrad, and even if someone doesn't click a button and they kind of accidentally hit outside the button, Conrad is messaging them back, because they pretty much, readers know now if they message Facebook, they're getting Conrad and not me. And I think that that's a great thing to do. One last issue that might pop up, the timeline of your character. So where does this happen? When in, chronological sense does this conversation occur? For me, I did it just that chronologically. If, I had a 1 month flow before the book came out, this was 1 month before the book. And Conrad was speaking to them as if it were February, and the book comes out in March. That might not always be possible. For instance, going from Conrad to Rory, between those two books, there was only about a week, and yet I promoted it for about 6 weeks. So I condensed that, and kind of most of the flows all happened within like a 2-day period. So that will again be up to you, but I like to do it right before the book is happening, so that way they don't get any spoilers. It makes it challenging because the hero hasn't met the heroine. So if it's romance, for instance, and there's other challenges with that. I've had authors say, well, can my hero flirt then with the readers? And I say, that's really up to you. It depends on, what you want to do and how your character would act. But if they haven't met the heroine and that's the way you want to go, I might upset some historical readers if I was overtly flirting with all of the readers. And they would probably, talk, and they have, as a matter of fact, people have said, is Conrad talking to everyone else or just me? So, but those issues are completely up to you. You'll find some of these things pop up, but definitely give some thought into who you're choosing and let that voice and that character shine through. And that's about it. So we're going to move on to more of the ManyChat menu.